What is your first apartment tip? Set a budget and stay within it. Don't let yourself be talked into something you can't really afford. If you see one mouse, take it very seriously. There are bound to be more, and there have likely been issues in the past, as in rat shit on every surface. Edit, of course, mice push out rat shit. Do you even vermin? We toured a house today and found mouse droppings in the garage and under the sink. If it's vacant and there's no food in the house for a few weeks, is it reasonable to trust they are gone? When doing the walkthrough with the landlord, make sure you both look behind large appliances, i.e. stove, fridge, etc. Landlords often deduct cleaning fees from your return deposit for not cleaning these areas, but don't ever actually take care of it before the next tenant moves in. Take note of the carpet's condition during the walkthrough. Ask about hanging pictures in the walls. Proper move out procedures. Some landlords expect you to putty any holes. You can also ask for a paint sample to fix any minor blemishes you may have left. Before signing the lease, make sure you clarify how much of the deposit is refundable, where the non-refundable portion goes to. My last house had a non-refundable carpet cleaning fee, but they still deducted even more from my refund when my lease ended because I didn't get my carpets cleaned before moving out. Luckily, I held onto the paper I requested from the landlord on day one with the deposit fees breakdown on it. I ended up getting my entire deposit back, which brings me to my final bit of advice. Document everything. Take pictures. Keep rent receipts. Save emails containing inquiries. Everything. I've had a landlord take me to court over cleaning and picture frame holes. I still had a month and a half before I had to move out, so obviously I hadn't taken my pictures down yet. Went to court and it got dismissed since I was still living there. The corporation I rent from has done this to everyone on my floor moving out. Once you get to court, they say, as long as it's move and ready, we won't have to pay. Fill out the check-in check-out sheet extremely thoroughly. If you don't list something that's damaged when you move in, it's not uncommon for them to keep your security deposit and even charge you extra when you move out. Unless you have proof, they have the legal upper hand to charge you so that they can make repairs for things that weren't your fault. Also on this, it may not be completely moral, but our apartment didn't collect the current damage sheet thing until 3 days after we moved it. We scratched the vinyl floor moving the couch in. We definitely listed that as existing damage. I just moved to because Canada from Ontario and was mildly concerned about deposits. In Ontario, landlords are not allowed to collect deposits, only first and last months when you move in because they can charge 50% of the monthly rate up front as a damage deposit, but they have to do a walkthrough with the new tenant within the first week. Both must sign an official document from because governor. If this doesn't happen, the landlord cannot hold the tenant liable for any damage upon vacation. Guess what my new landlord never did? Now, I'm not a total dick and will leave the place as good as I found it, but if my landlord tries to pull any bullshit and claim damages against me, I'll have the upper hand in that situation. If you have roommates all on a lease, make sure you remove your name from the lease if you leave before they do, even if it's expensive to break it. I learned the hard way and got sued for $5,000 in damages that weren't my fault. You got taken to court. Didn't your lawyer suggest anything about settling prior to the litigation? He wasn't living there. What's he going to try and settle? The service was probably his first knowledge of the issue. Yeah, I had no idea any of this was happening until like 8 months after I had moved out, and he didn't have a phone, so I didn't know anything was wrong. Introduce yourself to the neighbors you share a wall floor ceiling with. If anyone is annoyed by loud music or pot smoke or whatever, it makes them more likely to come directly to you instead of the landlord and actually tell them to let you know if you're being too loud so you can fix the problem quickly. Edit, I forgot the most important rule. Invite them to your parties. Even if they don't accept, they'll be much more tolerant of the noise knowing it's kinda their party too. Make sure the flush of the toilet works correctly. If only this thread came up earlier. Dish soap is not a replacement for your dishwasher soap. Oh no, this happened at my first apartment. Didn't catch it for 15 minutes after it overflowed. If you did use dish soap in your dishwasher link, use cold water to clean it up. Hot water only makes the problem worse. Edit not my video. Just the first one I found, go link. Document ducking everything. They can and will shaft you on the way out. I moved in with a broken blind blade on one window and didn't document it. They charged me $50 for a new set of blinds, pocketed the money and left it for the next guy. I asked my landlord about a carpet stain in one of the bedrooms. Oh yeah, the previous tenant spilled some wine. Don't worry, we charged him for it. Here's the receipt. So why the duck is there still a stain on the carpet? Make sure it has decent water pressure. Agreed. About to go shower with my garden watering can disguised as a shower head. I can put up with a lot of shit, but not a crappy shower bath. My dorm freshman year had ultra low water pressure. It was barely high enough to avoid dropping at a 90 angle. Such is life in school. That sucks, dude. My freshman dorm was the exact opposite. If you turned the knob even a hair to the hot side, the water was damn near boiling and shot out hard enough to cut you. The toilets also flushed so hard I swear I could feel the air pressure drop. Take your time looking at a place. Don't feel rushed. If the person showing you the place rushes you, ask to reschedule. Check windows in case they stick. Try each tap for good water pressure. Flush the toilet. Check for lead pilots on furnaces. Open cabinets to check for water damage. Identify basic safety issues like quality of exterior doors, lack of hand railings on stairs. Document anything and everything. Budget for renters insurance and accurately inventory your belongings. Don't get in over your head on your budget. If a roommate bails, will you be okay? And do prioritize your quality of life. Educate yourself on any potential legal issues, your rights, your landlord's rights. Also, many states afford rights to people guests who stay a certain time. Be careful who you let crash, or you may have a really tough time evicting them when you need your space back. Also, when you are on the walkthrough, ask how many other people have a key to the apartment. You don't need any surprise guests. Google address for bed bugs. Ask how pest problems are dealt with and if there are any current ones. Ask about the culture of the building and why the last person moved out. Talk to previous renters if possible. Talk to the people that live there. Ask them everything you want. Absolutely. If they seem to dodge the question, seem dismissive, or seem rude, walk. I had a nasty one once who kept saying, well, what do you expect for $200 a week? Geez. To everything I asked. Things like, is that a heater? And does this window open? Met the what do you expect response. I moved in because I was desperate and I really regretted it. Get renter's insurance. Mine is only $15 a month and covers $15,000 of stuff I don't even own. If you have a car, you can probably save money by bundling it with your auto insurance. Edit numbers are hard. You're gonna duck up in one way or another. Take as many notes as you can of all the mistakes that you'll definitely make so you can learn from them when second apartment time comes along. Don't trust your roommate with the rent check. If you have to yourself, you make sure to get all the money for the rent, unless you're the asshole spending the rent check on something else. Get a plunger before you need one. Also get a bathroom trash can that has a lid. A lid and liner bags. Keep a fire extinguisher near the door. If you put it near the stove, if the stove is on fire you might not be able to get to it. If it's by the door, you can grab it while evacuating and then make the decision on whether or not to go back in once you're safely outside, rather than having to decide which way to run out or to the fire extinguisher. In the middle of an emergency, you can buy a universal fire extinguisher for $15 at any store like Walmart. Also, make sure your smoke detectors work. Your landlord should be responsible for making sure you have them, but it's on you to change batteries, etc. And they are not expensive if your landlord is dawdling. Just buy your own and include the receipt as part of your rent or something. Paying an extra $20 is better than being dead. Try not to spend any unnecessary money during the first month or two. Then you'll hopefully have some laid back for when you might need it, and you'll be sure to know how much you can and have to spend. Good luck. This is my biggest fear. I get paid monthly and have to move 2 months before my first paycheck. I don't have enough money to last me that long. Do a walkthrough with the landlord and video every part of it. Additionally, if your apartment complex has a move-in sheet, to list the state of the apartment. Don't just put good or acceptable. You write down every scratch in the linoleum, every dent and nail hole in the wall, every stain on the carpet. Write down if there are screens on the windows, if the doors stick, if the door knobs lock and latch properly. There is no such thing as too nitpicky when your deposit is on the line, especially in areas where you can be charged extra for repairs over your deposit amount. It still irks me to this day how I noticed most of the wear on my apartment after I turned in the condition sheet. I turned it in, then realized my toilet seat had a lot of chipping, and my patio door frame was snapped, and there's a big scuff on the back of the bathroom door. The day you move in, have a box bag with toilet paper, a hand towel, some soap, some plastic cups, and paper towels in it. That box bag should be the first thing you put in the apartment and should be unpacked immediately. During the move you'll eventually need to use the bathroom or drink water. Now you can. A survival kit is paramount to any new living space. Add a 4-pack of 60 with light bulbs, a cheap warmed floor lamp, a plunger and one of those yellow sponges with the green abrasive pad on one side, a shower curtain if there's not already one, definitely Lysol, Drano, Pledge, and Windex. Any damage that happens while you're there and is not your fault, document it. Our neighbors above us had a flood, and it soaked out walls and carpet. We called and no one came to fix it. When we moved out they tried to charge us for water damage. Luckily I had photos and videos of the damage and we were able to get out of it. Edit floor to flood. LOL. Always have at least a month's rent in subsidiary more. Most of us are only 1 or 2 setbacks away from not being able to afford rent. At least have the security of being able to afford rent, even if you lost your job tomorrow. I would like to add to this by saying, if you lose your job, you should tell the owner as soon as possible and make sure you know your local laws. Where I live, non-payment of rent means only to give you 3 days to move or correct the non-payment. Basically be open and honest, but prepare to vacate quickly, as at that point you are hoping a payment plan can be arranged. That's a long shot. Read your lease agreement. It's becoming extremely common that even death will not release the tenant from the contract, or they don't offer lease breaks altogether. Always ask how you can get out of your lease if something comes up. Also know that even if you're not occupying the space, you are still required to pay the rental installments until you fulfill your lease agreement. Ask if prorating is an option. If you're moving in the middle or later in the month, ask if proration is an option. That way you don't have to pay the full month. Any communication you have between the landlord or the accounts manager about your lease agreement or account statements, have everything in writing. This protects your rights as a tenant just in case they are playing games with your account or lease agreement. Call maintenance for every single thing. They might get annoyed, but think about this. If you mess something up and put in a request, you have a 50-50 chance of them fixing it for free. If you leave and they do their inspection and it's messed up, then you will almost always get it snatched from your security deposit. Note: use the Craigslist help job offered section. Let's say you duck something up and it's totally your fault and you know 100% they will make you pay for it. There is almost always someone on Craigslist willing to repair it for about 50% of the cost of a contractor the apartment people hire. The economy isn't amazing. There are tons of people on Craigslist who aren't looking for cheap jobs because they don't know what they are doing. They are looking for cheap jobs because their field might be hard to find work in, or they hit a rough spot, or maybe they just do side jobs because they either 1. Make more direct money than if they did it for their company, or 2. Are saving up to take their family to Disney or something. You can ask them to send proof of their work to kinda gauge how good they are, and take quotes from each person and make an educated decision. The biggest examples if you're young or have pets would be drywall repair and carpet repair. If you duck those up, the apartment owner will take a big chunk of your deposit. There are thousands of people who can do a good job to the point that your folks will never even know you messed things up. and good luck and congrats. Keep your place clean. A small but clean place is way better than a really nice apartment that looks like a pigsty. It doesn't take a lot of effort. Vacuum every couple of weeks. Take out the trash, do the dishes, and put stuff where it belongs, and you'll be in great shape. The walkthrough checklist they give you before you sign the lease. Document everything and take photos. No matter how unimportant something seems, document it. Ask what years things were replaced and redone. Locks, carpet, flooring, paint, plumbing, roof, appliances, windows, etc. And get everything in writing. Every single time you speak with your landlord, make sure to save all emails, record phone calls, etc. Make a mental note of the cars in the lot. And for safety, make sure to know where all the entrances, exits, cameras, and security posts are. Just be super observant. The 2 things I learned after my first apartment. Make sure there's good storage space, minimum of 1 decent closet in each bedroom plus 1 in the hall for coats or bathroom storage. And don't forget kitchen storage. Are there grounded 3-prong outlets located where you need them, like where the TV and computer might go, or the coffee pot, toaster, microwave? Roommates suck. LOL. And living with friends can ruin the friendship. I had one friend bounce a rent check. Not a happy time. Pay your rent. Pay your ducking rent. Seems simple. Yeah. I don't mean pay your rent on payday. I don't mean pay it when you got it. Pay it when it's due. You know what sucks worse than having less money because you paid rent? Getting kicked out of your house because you're not paying rent. You know who's looking for a place to rent? Everyone. You know who gets the places to rent? The ones that have a proven history of paying their ducking rent on time. You can live on beans, potatoes and onions. You can live without sinking booze on the weekend. You can live without the latest awesome game console. You can live without all the fancy toys. Do you have to give all that stuff up? No, you don't. You just have to buy them after you paid your ducking rent. A good rental history can only be bought one way, and it's by being a good renter. Being a shit renter will follow you when you're looking for references. Do you want your current landlord to be saying, "Great tenant, paid rent on time without fail"? Or would you prefer, "Had to chase that bastard every month for rent"? Which one would you rent to? Pay your ducking rent. Never duck with the rent. Duck with whatever else you like. Not your rent.